more than done. Not sure, well, 8,000 might be enough. And this slight rise, not even slowing down. It's just the really steep ones that we have a problem with. I think this is going to work. We've finished. I need to... So, the issue with this thing is I can't unload it. So, don't go there. That one. I'm just going to empty the trailer. With what's left in it. There we go. Okay, so that contract is also done. Nice. So, 139,000. I'm guessing with that done, we are really in a position to head off to April. So yeah, with Mrs. Osa obviously down in Ohio visiting her family, how do I turn off cruise control? Like that. Or GPS or whatever it is. So yeah, with Mrs. Osa down in Ohio, obviously we have no distractions for the entirety of today. So I did jokingly suggest to her, well, in that case I can stream all day. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to need a break for food at some point. I think the tea's gone. I've got another mouthful of tea to go, but we're good for now. Yeah, the nice thing about transporting milk from this farm is the dairy is really close. The sad news is that the sell point for milk is way over the other side of the map, so or for butter, or for anything really. Maypole Exports is the place to sell most of the stuff. Here. I did that, didn't I? There we go. Okay. We'll spray off the side. It's a bit big, but it certainly is a good little manure spreader. Okay, let's get this. Okay, we do not need to fix anything here, so as I said, I might sell the Anderson bale collector. It's just a big giant problem for me. I'll give it the first cut of grass that we're going to feed the dudes, the cows. Okay, you're done. Oh. You can't disconnect a trailer when you're not selecting it. So the only time I don't want this weight on is when we're mowing. So obviously I need the front mower on. Anyway, let's get this back to the yard. Do have soybeans to sell. I need to check again when the best price on soybeans is. I will leave the weight on the front until we do the mowing. So I'll probably run down to the other yard with the weight on and then take it off just to mount the mowers. And then do it all the other way. So we'll run with this with weights on most of the time, except when we don't. Okay. So this thing. We have 139,000. I do need some more money in order to buy a seeder if one doesn't come up. I'd like to see a seeder coming up in the sales. I don't think we've had one. I think this sensor has a weight on the front. I think I decided to actually end up with a sort of weight on the sensor. Just because we're running with the trailed. Actually, it's a good idea regardless, because you're usually going to be running with a sprayer or a fair size spreader. So having a small weight on the front. Or did I? No. Yes, no, no. There is no weight on the front of that. So it is an option, and maybe I should have installed one. Although I'm not finding this trailed sprayer is too much of a problem. Obviously, if you have a 3-point mounted tank on the back, you probably want to think about a weight on the front, because normally you're counterbalancing it with another tank on the front. You can't run another tank on the front with this contraption. Anyway. We can empty this. I think now all of the fertilization contracts are going to be growing fields. So gonna have to take that into account. We won't be able to throw out the manure on those fields. How's the diesel? Diesel's fine. Maintenance is fine. And this is the liquid spray. No, we're a little close. And that looks like it's good to pump. Yes. Also, with the increased productions, it's less. I think there's less necessity for chopping trees down to make up money during the winter. Anyway, let's get this backed away. That's not the one I want to disconnect. There we go. So again, I think I'll keep the sensors on the front just because we're likely to be doing more spraying before we need this tractor for any other reason. Alrighty, so that is another productive day. Let me run back home, and here I am. So, quick check on store sale. I don't think it'll have progressed any since first thing this morning. Nope. And that button there. Sleep till 7, sleep till 8. We'll sleep till 8. I don't have anything pressing to do. We've already done contracts for the month. So there's literally nothing to do tomorrow unless we have to do something on our farm. I didn't check. Okay. More fertilizing contracts. They're not particularly big ones, so we didn't lose out on anything. The cows are down to 180,000 food. The longer I leave it, the more I'm going to have to pump in there later. What were they at yesterday? It might be a good idea to feed them. I'm just thinking that. Meanwhile, that's the cows. Can't do contracts. Can't plant anything. Oh, soybeans. We have some. Good grief, we're already up to almost 50,000 litres of milk again, so that's another 2 tanks down. Soybeans fluctuations, June. Okay, so nobody wants that. Let's check. Alright, that's the mower and a semi-trailer. So nothing big. I should probably run 2 tanks of milk. What was the other thing I said I needed? Soybeans don't need to be sold. Cows need food. Okay. Go forwards. Yeah, everything's good here. So yeah, the TMR mixer is on lease, which is fine. And 3 each of those bales is sufficient for 21,000 litres. The reason I had a little bit more in was because I couldn't empty the last cart and I still had 6 more bales. So I just topped it off so we could do at least 1 trip for free. Now, the thing I didn't check was straw. We have 57,000 litres of straw in the shed as stuff. Okay, no big deal. So now that we have a front loader or a telehandler, I don't actually need this on a front loader quite so much. And this will reach into the buckets where the skid steer has a little bit of an issue. Anyway, let me get this sorted out. How do we get to the other ones? I think I will stab that one. think I'm probably going to have to take green ones out one at a time. Okay, that is set on grey grass and maize silage. Hopefully I don't get any bale bugs and get the bale trapped on the front of this thing. That would be most unfortunate. Oops. But I think progression for this farm, we are going to move away from using the extractor. If I can do maize silage and grass silage wrapped, we'll do the bigger bales. Rather than, all you can buy from the store are small ones. Okay. So this year, if I do contract that big field, it'll make us 26,000 thereabouts when we do it, and we'll keep the grass silage in here. But I need some maize. Not planning on maize silage this year. We'll buy it for now. Okay, that's 2. Nice. And really not going to come off. Oh, one came off. And 2 come off. That's good. Okay, one more. And again with Farm Sim, it took me a long time to get into telehandlers, but they are definitely a good piece of equipment. Skid steers more so. I mean, I have never, whenever I've had a starting farm with a skid steer, I've sold it and bought something to replace it with. And it actually turns out skid steers are very, very useful. Anyway, let's go get this emptied. So I'm unloading 20,000 litres at a time, 21,000 litres at a time. I have found out that this shed will take 500,000. So that's a good thing. Hey cows, here's food. Enjoy. And then while the Anderson baler is a little bit bigger, I don't think it's really worth the price for one to 4 and 4 instead of 3 and 3. Okay. That's 2. Let's see what I'm doing. So yeah, the nice thing about with Maize Plus and using a mixer wagon is you can actually decide what mix recipe you're using. So I'm currently set to use the realistic one, which primarily needs grass and silage, and optionally needs a bunch of other stuff at any mix. So I don't have to include... what's the deal there? Okay. Am I tipped back too much on the forks? I guess I might be. Probably why it wasn't coming off, because I had it tipped back too far. So yeah, if we go here and show the mixtures, your basic one is your whole crop silage, hay, straw, mineral feed, which is what the robot makes. And it has minimums and maximums. You don't have to include straw, you don't have to include mineral feed, but if you're using a robot, you do. Then we have the realistic, which needs maize silage and grass silage, at least 10% of each of those, up to 90% of each. So if you have 10 and 90, that's all you ever need to put in there. You can optionally use whole crop silage, clover silage, and alfalfa silage, up to 90%. You can never get 90% because you must have at least 10% of those two before you add the rest of that. So the best that can be is 80. You can put beet pulp silage, brewer's grain silage, the Deuter mineral feed, the regular mineral feed, grain grist, sorghum and grain grist, molasses, filtered water or water, alfalfa hay or normal hay, straw, CCM, beet pellets or cut potatoes, sugar beet, cut sugar beet, and carrots. So that's the realistic option. So while I'm only doing maize and grass silage, I could add other stuff if I felt like it, and I had it. I don't have it, so we're not using it. The beef total mix is at least 20% of maize silage, alfalfa hay or clover hay, maximum of 75 of either of those. So you could make up an entire batch of just those two at 50% each. Beet pulp silage, cut potatoes, sugar beets, cut, molasses, water, and mineral feed. And then yarn is mostly hay with grass or maize silage, straw, and you have to include those three, and then mineral feed, water, molasses. And your dairy cattle, you can do hay, maize or grass silage, and then mineral feed, brewer's grain silage, grain grist, water, molasses. So yeah, you can add any of those you want. You can mix pig food. Which needs all three of these, but you could have soybeans, canola, sorghum or grain grist, or CCM. Mineral feed, sugar beet, potato cut. Mineral feed is expensive. It's $1,000 for 1,000, or £1,000 for 1,000 litres, so I tend not to do that. Grain grist, we can mix that in this thing as well, if we wanted to. Wheat, sorghum, barley, oats. Whatever. Since we're using the realistic, we could actually use some of that if we wanted to. Anyway, what did I put in there? I don't know. Let's go and have a look. We have 10,500, so that's all the grass silage. I just need to put some maize silage in there. I will say for this job, this is a lot easier to use than the skid steer. I think because it's got the height that I don't have to mess with lowering doors on things like the UJIT. I only have a bale spike for this at the moment. I don't know if I need anything else. We've got a lot of tractor. A lot of tractor attachments. And I think we have a bale spike and a pallet fork for the skid steer. I could get rid of the skid steer's bale spike, take it over to our other yard and use that to unload the solid things into the silo. Hi cows. Oh, you're not interested? Well, okay then. Squirrel's playing chase. So probably going to end up using all of these. Just because if I can get the feed mixer or the trough as full as possible, or as full as I'm able to with what I have on hand, it's probably going to be fine and should last until April 1. And then once we're on April 1, it'll be mowing time. Ooh. There we go. So, one more green mow. Drag it off.